Welcome to another video with Adapter Die, where we forge leaders through adversity. Today, I'm going to be talking about, you guessed it, jackets. Jackets are a large part of the clothing system that we use when we're going out into the great outdoors, whether it be for military operations, training, or just going on a fun hike. So this will apply to the everyday Joe that just wants to go on a hike with his kids in the great outdoors, military personnel, law enforcement, first responders, and anybody else that is going to find themselves in austere environments with potentially bad weather. Jackets, there's a lot of different purposes for a jacket. I know a lot of folks out there, probably many of your wives, think it's just a jacket, just buy one and use it. And while I can appreciate the sentiment, there are many different types of jackets for many different types of environments. And if you don't get the appropriate jacket for your intended use in your intended environment, then you might find yourself between a rock and a hard place when the weather gets bad. Today, in this video, we're going to talk about the cold weather clothing system that I personally use, that I've kind of adapted from the well-known military cold weather clothing system. We're going to talk about the various jackets in that system, what they're made out of, what their intended use is, and what I personally recommend. If that's something that you find enjoyment out of, just these types of gear reviews, definitely want to encourage you to hit the subscribe button. There's plenty of videos about this, about gear like clothing systems, rucksacks, and a whole lot more. So let's dive into it. The military layering cold weather clothing system is a 7-layer system where I've kind of narrowed it down to 5 for the sake of simplicity. So your first layer is going to be your wicking layer. The whole purpose of the wicking layer is to ensure that the moisture from your body is able to be pulled away from your skin. Materials to avoid are cotton. I highly recommend a merino base layer or a synthetic base layer that is highly breathable and can move the moisture away from the skin as quickly as possible. Your second layer is going to be an insulation layer. This can consist of grid fleece or a low loft jacket. Examples being the Army issued grid fleece quarter or half zip, and then a low loft jacket such as something from Snugpak or Arc'teryx. The LT hoodie or the hoodie LT, I forget. I'll annotate it in the bottom, right along the bottom of your screen. And then you have the wind layer, which is going to be lightweight and packable. This is a layer that is going to help with convection, heat loss via convection. Then you're going to have your rain layer. It's very important that it has mechanical ventilation underneath your arms and at your wrists, so that if you are moving with a rain jacket on, you can mechanically vent so you don't sweat from the inside out. And then an extreme cold layer being the high loft insulation jacket, generally consisting of some Primaloft insulation. In a extreme cold weather environment that is dry, you can consider a down type insulation. So in this portion of the video, we're going to briefly go over layers 2, 3, and 5. That's the insulation layer consisting of grid fleece and low loft insulation, the wind layer, and the extreme cold high loft layer. The first item on the list is my Stone Glacier low loft, very lightweight vest. Some things to consider for your second layer of insulation is how breathable it is. This layer needs to help with that wicking and evaporation process. The first layer wicks the moisture from the skin, then your body heat can continue to dry everything out as it's breathable, and that evaporation can move away from your skin. I like a vest because it is going to keep you warm while moving, but not too warm. A lot of mechanical ventilation because there's no arms. You can also mechanically vent all the way down to the bottom because it unzips completely. There's no hood. I personally don't like hoods on this layer if I can help it. And then the bottom has some shock cords so that I can secure it and keep that warm air closest to my body. The next jacket I want to talk about is a low loft consideration from Snugpak. Now, this one is not made anymore. It was the Badger hoodie, I believe, from Snugpak. They have an Arrowhead version, I believe now, that looks pretty sweet. This item was sent to me by Plat Attack. I really like it. I took this one with me to Iraq because even in Iraq, it does get cold in the winter. Now, there's Primaloft. I believe it's similar to Primaloft. The Brits use a little bit different insulation in this one. But if I can unzip it, it has, yes, the Badger insulated hoodie. It has some fleece on the inside. The face fabric is fleece. It has insulation in between a very lightweight outer layer and that inner fleece. So it's very breathable. It's very packable. And it's very, very comfortable. I will say though that the 32-degree comfort level, maybe with some a heavy layer underneath, but with just a base layer and then this layer, you're going to start to get cold at 32 degrees unless you're moving. Now the second layer, I know I just said I don't like hoods, but this one and the rest of the low loft jackets you're going to see today have hoods, and that's okay. This one, you can secure the hood so that it doesn't get in the way of your equipment. One other thing to note is the Badger hoodie has these thumb loops, so it keeps the warm air in, and then your gloves, the cuffs of your gloves go on the outside of this jacket. I like this jacket because it's very lightweight, it's very comfortable, and it looks cool. So the next jacket we have is from Stone Glacier. I forget the model name, so I'm gonna just annotate it below. I just want to note again, Stone Glacier face fabrics, in my opinion, pill very easily. I have hardly used this one because of that. I just need to be really gentle with it. With that being said, the times I have used it, it's very, very warm. And there's a few things that I really like about this jacket that I want to share with you. The first one being underneath the arms, it has a large zipper for mechanical ventilation. This is outstanding for your second layer, that insulation layer being grid fleece, or in this case, low loft. While moving, having that mechanical ventilation is critical. It also has a hood, and this collar goes up to over top your mouth. So you got to breathe out of your nose, but it keeps your face warm as well. It has pockets on the inside, so you can put gloves in there, your hat, whatever you want to dry out with your body heat. I generally wear an extra large t-shirt, and this is in fact an extra large jacket. It's very comfortable. It has some more of that shock cord at the bottom so you can keep that warm air in. And it's a great jacket. The only knock that I'll give it is, see, I've hardly used this jacket and it pills. I'm very kind to my gear. I take extra good care of it because I know how expensive it is. So that's the knock I'll give the Stone Glacier, but it is very comfortable, very, very warm, and it's a great layer to consider. The last layer that I'd like to talk about for your insulation is this Stone Glacier lightweight down jacket. Now, it's important to remember, if you're in a wet environment, I do not suggest down. Oftentimes now they treat down, so it's a little bit more hydrophobic. But even so, when this gets wet, it will clump up and it will not keep you warm. So if this is a mission critical item in a wet weather, cold environment, so that might not be your best option. With that being said, if it's a dry or cold, or maybe it's in the fall and you're not too worried about rain, this is a layer to consider. It is very, very lightweight. So if you're hard on things, this is probably not going to be your jacket either. As you can tell, I put a hole in it. And I am very careful with my equipment. So it's very fragile, but very packable. This packs down to probably about the size of both your fists together. A little bit bigger, about a little bit bigger than softball size. And it comes with its own stuff sack. One complaint that people have with this jacket is the cuffs. They kind of allow air flow. So if some people have complained that it does not keep the warm air in your arms as well, and you get a little chill. I have not experienced this, but I could see how it could be a possibility. Now moving on to the wind layer. This is layer 3 for the people that are keeping count. I have three different options for you guys to take a look at today. The first one you see right there is from Mountain Ops. This is going to be your more budget-friendly option, especially when they're on sale. It's very lightweight, and it packs down to about your fist size. So you can keep it in your EDC. Has a chest pocket. It is YKK zippers. This one I do fit a large, but if it's a little bit more fitted, so if you want it to layer, you definitely want to size up. It has some pockets on the inside, so you can keep your gloves in there. And again, this is your budget option for your wind jacket layer 3. Next option to consider is the Kifaru Wind River jacket. This one I have used extensively for running in colder environments. I use this on the Mohican 100 Ultra Marathon. Thankfully I had it, because if I wouldn't have, I would have froze. It was unordinarily cold during that run in late May. This jacket, very packable, lightweight and packable, remember. Your wind jacket generally should be. This is a layer I usually wear when I'm moving. I'll couple it with my first layer, so I'll forego the insulation on layer 2. I'll wear this wind jacket and my base layer while I'm moving, because my body heats up and I don't need all that insulation while moving. The Hill People Gear Wind Cheater is a jacket I've used for a long time. Has the optional Coyote Fur Ruff in it, as you can see. It's Velcroed and zipped in. It has hand warming pockets that do sit above the belt when you have a rucksack on, so you can put your hands in there and warm them up. Has your 2 Napoleon pockets, which I really like, to put various things like gloves in. On the inside, you can see that there's mesh, and that passes through to your hand warming area. This allows for whatever you put in here to dry out via body heat, which is pretty neat. So a feature that I really appreciate. Now back to another a feature that I really appreciate is mechanical ventilation. So underneath the arm, Down the side is a large zipper that is going to help you mechanically vent to stay dry and cool. Very, very nice feature on this jacket. More mechanical ventilation. You can control how big your cuff is. You can tighten it down or you can leave it loose. It's a very nice feature. And then as far as the hood goes, it's a very large hood, so it will fit over a helmet. And you can adjust the back so that you can still get some peripheral vision, even with a coyote fur ruff. If without the coyote fur ruff, you can definitely have some nice peripheral vision. I recommend wearing a hat with this ruff. Give it a little bit more form, keep it out of your eyes. The last layer we're going to be talking about today is the extreme cold high loft layer, layer number 5. This jacket has a lot of features. It's 200 grams Primaloft gold insulation. Has 2 hand warming pockets that have fleece on the inside. Very nice. Has 2 chest pockets about sized for an Apple iPhone. The 16 Pro fits in it just fine. To give you a size reference, it's about the size of my hand. The zipper zips from the bottom in case you need to get to your belt line. With that in mind, if you're carrying appendix, they have a little bit of extra material to protect the jacket, as well as on the 3 and 9 o'clock positions for those that have duty belts and have their weapon on their side. The bottom has this black material that encases the shock cord to tighten up the bottom. Has a generous hood that is adjustable in the back in 2 places. And then on the inside, 3 places, I'm sorry, in the front, in the back of the head, and then the nape of the neck. On the inside, it has some fleece for the face area to be nice and comfortable. And then there's one big pocket that I keep my insulated mittens in. You fit a Nalgene in there with warm water or whatever other good stuff you want to keep nice and warm close to your body. The cuffs on the Audi jacket are not adjustable. They just have a little bit of this black material that kind of seals up the wrists. The last jacket I have on the list is the Level 7 Wild Things Tactical Happy Suit. This is a Marine Corps issued one. I bought this probably 12 to 15 years ago and it's still going strong. If you can find these used on Facebook Marketplace or eBay, you can't go wrong. This is one of the warmest jackets I've ever worn. Has good pockets on the inside. Has some mesh with a little bit of this elastic material, so you can put your gloves in here. It doesn't secure like the Audi gear, but it's deep enough that you're probably not going to lose whatever you put in the pocket. And that's on each side. Now here, which we're not going to talk about today, I've got the Happy Suit pants as well. Around the bottom, it has that elastic shock cord that is adjusted on the inside of the pocket. so you don't have any toggles sticking out anymore. This one is large regular. I wear a large t-shirt, or correction, I wear an extra large t-shirt, but these are sized big for your layering. Has a generous hood that has no adjustments in the back, but an adjustment on each side. And a nice feature with this hood is that it can be rolled up and secured if you're not going to use it. This is nice when you're wearing body armor and have helmets with all sorts of stuff going on. Simplify your kit. But that is the High Loft Happy Suit Marine Corps issue. The Army has their version in gray. And it is a great budget option. Today, we've talked an awful lot about the layering system, mainly when it comes to jackets, the different materials they're made out of, the different use cases for them, and the various features that I look for when selecting a jacket. There's a lot more that could have been said in this video. It was more of an overview. If you want more details, if you have questions, make sure to drop them below in the comment section. Talking about this gear, I could do it for days. So I appreciate the questions very much. Speaking of appreciating and being thankful, this is a time of year where we really start to hone in on the things that we're thankful for. And really, we should be doing that every day. But Thanksgiving, Christmas, focused on family, focused on community, and the things that are most important in life. Clearly, jackets are not one of those things. So, as I reflect on that fact, I think of you and all the people that have supported this channel over the last 5 years. God has given me these passions for the great outdoors, for gear, for leadership, for a purpose. And a large part of that purpose is sharing my experiences with you so that you can be more prepared, so that you can be the leaders that God has called you to be for the people that count on you. So thank you for supporting me in that endeavor. I want to encourage you as you spend time with your family, your friends, during this Christmas break, during this holiday season, that maybe you pause the video, set your phone down, and be really, really intentional about the time that you spend with your family and the time that you spend to really consider all the things that you can be thankful for. All right, guys, that's what I've got for you. That's what the Lord laid on my heart to share with you. I hope it was encouraging. As always, I so appreciate your support. All right, that's a wrap for 2025. I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas with your families, with the people you care about, the people you love. This has been another video with Adapt or Die, where we forge leaders through adversity.